The barn owls are out. I've been here for about 45 minutes and I was just about to give up and 2 of them have come out. I can see the male in front of me. Hello, welcome back. If you're a regular viewer, you will recognise the tippy tappy sound of Wilbur wandering around, because as soon as I start filming, Wilbur gets up and starts wandering around. And there he goes. And if you're new to the channel, Wilbur is my dog, and like I just said, every time I start filming and talking, he gets up and starts wandering around. And anyway, you'll have just seen that I saw the barn owls. Finally, I finally got a good photograph of the barn owls. I saw the barn owls. Again, if you've been watching for a little while, you might know that I've been trying to see these barn owls for ages, like get a good photograph of them for quite a long time. I keep nipping out to the hide where it is on nice evenings, like today. Today would be quite a good day for them. The clocks have changed now, so they're probably coming out a bit later. But I've been heading down there just sort of before sunset is when barn owls start to come out, and I've been trying to get a good photo of them, and I've just not seen them, or if I've seen them it's been dark, and I've just not bothered showing you it because there's no point. And anyway, I went down there and I just looked out the window one night and I thought it's the perfect night for it. Went down there, there was a couple of other people, like regulars that are normally there waiting at the hide as well, and at about 5:45 they just went, oh, do you know what, give it up, I'm gonna go home. And I'm not kidding, they must have been gone 30 seconds. And both of the barn owls that live in that area came out at once. So they were flying around in the distance a little bit, and then they started to come really close. They started to fly past me. They were chasing each other a little bit. One of them chased a magpie at one point. Didn't get a picture of that, but it was great. And then I just hung around and watched those barn owls for about an hour, which was really lovely. So that's barn owl update. Exciting. I've not been back since. I took that picture nearly 2 weeks ago now. But anyway, that's barn owl update. Again, if you watch regularly, you'll know that I missed last week's video. I try not to make a habit of it. I've said I've missed 1 or 2 before. I always say I try not to make a habit of it, but it does happen. I work full time and I'm doing an art masters, and I'm trying to maintain all the other things on top of that as well. So last week I couldn't get a video out. I just didn't. It was crazy. Just couldn't do it. So unfortunately, if I have to give something in the week, it is normally the video that goes. But if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I normally post mini updates on there. But I'm sure I'm sure none of you mind. I'm sure it's only really me that actually minds. But anyway, updates. You guys haven't seen the Newcastle drawing for ages. I'll admit there was 1 week I didn't do anything on it. I had no time because I had to do a load of coursework, which I'll tell you about in a second. But I will show you the Newcastle drawing. Here is where we are up to. So I'll be honest, I can barely even remember where I left you guys with this. I'm pretty sure we'd finished this building and I just started on here. I've drawn out, so this, I think last time you saw this was just a sort of empty shape. There was nothing in it. So I started on the chimney and I've worked my way down on this building. The other ones I've worked on this one I sort of worked down and across. This building I worked up for some reason, and this one I've worked down on because, well, it's quite big and I learnt my lesson on that one. I should have worked down on that one. So I've been working down, and so I've been doing each floor at a time, and then we're just onto this floor now, doing the front. This building has been tricky because there are so many angles to it. So you can see this part that is facing us isn't face on either. Even that's at an angle, and then this is at an angle and set back, and then that is at an angle going backwards, and then this wall here is coming out, is going back diagonally, and then it's got windowsills from the other floors poking out behind it. So the perspective on that building has been tough. Drawing it out actually hasn't been too bad. Shading it I've had to think about quite a lot. I've taken some artistic license with this floor. because I'll show you. On the actual image, the actual building has these overhangs, awnings, masonry, I don't know what to refer to them as, over the windows. And if you look, so when I was measuring them up, so if you go from the edge of the sort of aperture for the window and measure up, that line is almost in line with the centre of that sort of pyramid shape above it. And when I was coming to draw it, so if we go up, that would have been there, then the pyramid shape would have been there. And it's also, it really protrudes, like it really protrudes from the building. And I just could not get it right. And I drew it probably, I think 9 or 10 times before I decided, you know what, we're taking some artistic license and we're leaving it out. We're just going for these big overhanging ledges instead. Once I'd drawn those in, I did actually feel a little bit confident and think, oh, maybe I could fit them in after all. But no, I decided not to do it. I decided just to leave it as it is. I've done it on the front one. I'm not going to do those side ones. So that has taken, it's taken quite a long time. Like I said, I didn't, for a whole week, I didn't draw anything on it. I had other stuff to do. And then I've just, over the last week, cracked on with it. And I've done probably, you know what, just that is already probably close to 30 hours worth of drawing. This whole drawing, by the time it's finished, is going to be well over 200 hours. And I kind of reflected on that a little bit in a blog post the other week, which I've put on my Ko-fi page and on my, I think I've put it on my website, maybe not. No, it's definitely on my Ko-fi page. Just sort of reflecting on how my drawings are growing. And I used to draw tiny detail, very, very small. And now I've started to draw in detail, but big, out of necessity more than anything. And I'm enjoying it, but my goodness, it is taking a long time. Like I say, this will be, it may even be over 200 hours already on this drawing, to be honest. I've kind of lost sight. I don't remember when I started it. I'm going to have to look back through these videos just to try and remember when I started this. So you've noticed as well, I drew these, so this building has like flowers around the front door. I've drawn them in already. And I've done that because the shading for the wall on the windows and the doors is behind it. So I wanted to get the flowers in early so that when I start shading it in, I don't shade in where the flowers need to be. So they're already set in place, which is, yeah, that's good. After this bit of the building, which who long knows how long that's going to take, hours and hours. I've got the curbs to do, curb around here, curbs here. Hopefully it won't take too long. Who knows? And then the road, and I've been really toying with the road. I thought I was going to cut it off because it would be very grey, but I don't know now. Something last night just sort of went to me, don't cut the road off, keep it. It will be a lot of grey, and I do need to figure out how to break it up a little bit and not just have it as one grey colour. How to add some depth and interest to it. So that's owls and the Newcastle drawing. Keep calling it the Newcastle drawing. I'm actually going to call it Under the Tyne Bridge when it's finished, but I just keep referring to it as the Newcastle drawing for now. What else have I been doing? So I mentioned coursework and masters and whatnot and reading. I had a whole week of just writing and reading. So we've been doing something called an illustrated project proposal, which is where we have to lay out the work we want to do next. Like what we're going to be working on next. And I don't think, I've not shared this at all, but my idea is sort of around wool economy. So going back to the felt drawing that I did ages ago now, finished that before Christmas, didn't I? I started doing this Newcastle drawing because I wanted to take a step back from that felt drawing. That felt drawing took so long and it was quite exhausting to do. It wasn't just that it took a long time, it was that the paper was really fibrous. It was wearing down the pencils quickly. As you might remember, I've still got my little pile of worn out pencils. And it was just quite exhausting to do, and it physically and mentally, it took quite a lot out of me doing that drawing. And I needed to step away from it a bit and think, do I have the energy to carry on doing this sort of subject? and what do I want to do with it now? And I was listening to a podcast called Not Just the Tudors, which is a series. It's really good if you want to listen to it. It's about Tudor times, but not just the Tudors, oddly enough. Anyway, I was listening to a podcast about that, and it said something about wool economy and how wool economy shaped the northwest of England. And that all of a sudden some stuff just clicked in my mind. So you might know that the wool drawing was about, the felt drawing was about paper making and the balance and the sort of fragility of the industry of paper making. And that's what I've been interested in exploring in my work is the fragility and the balance of heritage skills, heritage crafts, and their impacts, or the loss of them and the impact that has on landscapes and communities, which might sound a bit complicated or convoluted or even like nonsense, but that's what I'm interested in. And when this professor from Durham University, I can't remember his name, I'll try and put it in the description if I remember, he said something about wool economy shaping the landscape after the dissolution of the monasteries, and things just clicked. It just made sense. And I thought, wool economy, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep looking at the Lake District, which is what I was doing with the paper foundation stuff, the paper making and the felts. And I'm going to look at wool economy and how sheep farming and wool and what impact that has had on the physical landscape of the Lake District, but also the communities within the Lake District, and how delicate that balance is between sheep farming and the landscape as we know it, skills, society, etc. And part of that included going to a sheep farm on Friday. I got in touch with a lovely lady called Mary that runs Crookerbeck Farm in the lake. She sells wool. I will leave a link to her shop in the description. She sells real wool, Herdwick wool, and some red fox sheep wool, which are these sheep here. So I went to visit them. Amazing day, learnt a lot. I'm going to go and visit some more people, talk to some more people about wool and the Lake District and Herdwicks, etc. I'm going to keep writing. I've got so much writing to do. If there's writing that's relevant, I'll put it on my Ko-fi and on my website. But I thought I'd share some of the books that I've read for this with you. Some of it you might not understand, well, it might not be immediately obvious why I'm reading them, but there is I Hate the Lake District by Charlie Gear. Charlie actually taught me when I at my undergrad. Really interesting book. It's not actually about someone that hates the Lake District. It's about it's kind of about what I've said about the landscape of the landscape and industry is what it's about. I'm not going to ruin it for you. You can read that if you want. It's very interesting. I haven't read this one yet, but this is The Craftsman by Richard Sennett. I think he's an American. I haven't read this one yet. He's a philosopher, and I shall let you know how that one is. I haven't read this yet, but these people both taught me at undergrad. So Drawing Investigations by Sarah Casey and Jerry Davies. Both of these people taught me at my undergrad. They are both fantastic artists, incredible artists, and they both draw. And that is what I'm interested in. I am interested in, as you know, drawing, and I want to do my work in drawing. So all of my investigations will be through drawing. So this book felt incredibly relevant. So I'll be using that. And I've also got The Story of Drawing, Alternative History of Art. This is really good. Even if you're not particularly interested in, well, you don't need to be interested in pursuing an art career for any of these, but this is fascinating, and just in terms of drawing and its progression over time. It starts with Neolithic, sort of, like the white horses in Wiltshire. I know Andrea that watches frequently lives, I think, in or near Wiltshire, so you'll be quite familiar with the white horses. It starts off with the white horses, and it goes on to, it goes right up through Da Vinci and his drawings, Holbein, etc. And it just talks about the development of drawing and the use of drawing, which isn't often discussed in art history. Normally when you talk about art history, you talk about the final pieces or the artist or etc. This is talking about the role that drawing has played, because usually drawing is seen as a sort of method to a way to the final painting or the final sculpture, but this is about drawing on its own, which is nice. And then I've had this book for ages, Brontean Abstracts by Cornelia Parker. This is a work that Cornelia Parker's, I think she's my favourite artist. Some work that Cornelia Parker did with the Bronte Society, where she looked at some belongings, some things that belong to the Brontes in high detail, magnified them. And this I'm interested in because it's a similar, it's the method of how she did things that I'm interested in, and the display of how she did things. So there's some of the books I'm reading. So yeah, that's where I'm at with masters at the moment. And like I've said before, the work that I'm doing is very much going to be masters work. Occasionally there'll be other stuff that I can show you, like the Marmite drawing. I've got a painting commission coming up soon, which is going to be a very exciting one, so I'll show you that as I'm doing it as well. But what's next? I'm gonna finish this off. Like I've said before, I like to try and finish things before I start a new thing. I need to start doing more sketchbook work, because over the last few years I've just kind of had an idea to draw something and then drawn it or painted it. I need to start developing ideas in sketchbook work a bit more, so I'll start showing you some sketchbook things a bit more. They won't be full drawings, they'll very much be like planning drawings, and maybe I can like even do some of those and film them. Like I've said, I do struggle to remember to film while I'm drawing, because I just get in a bit of a zone with it. Anyway, I've talked to you enough. I've got to get some drawing, I've got to get some reading, I've got to get some writing done, I've got to get all sorts done, I've got to take Wilbur out for a walk, and yeah, I'll leave you alone for now, and I will be back next week with an update. I am really hoping that this Newcastle drawing will be finished. I really am, because I want to start the next thing, and I know what it's going to be. So, okay, I will leave you there, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.